Welcome to the family. Today on Flying Turtle Farmstead, we're going to cover how to make a lithophane 3D print. First thing you're going to want to do is find a file for yourself and go ahead and load it up in your favorite editor. I like to use Clip Studio, but one of the things that you want to keep in mind is that you're going to need to make sure that you change that image just a little bit in order for it to work properly. So you can see here, we're going to change the background. And we're going to make it slightly darker because the lighter a color is, the more light it's going to let through, but also the thinner the wall is going to be. So I like to keep all of my external edges to be at least just a little bit gray, and I like to put this bottom bar down here that's a little bit almost black in order for the image to be able to stand vertically much easier. I also change up the hue and saturation, the brightness and contrast. Sometimes this matters more than others. In this particular case, I don't think it would necessarily matter, but I just wanted to show you this so that you kind of get a wag and a notion as to, the things you might want to consider changing if you're having some issues with the printing. The high contrast elements like black versus white are really going to be your biggest issues, but otherwise just go ahead and save it, and let's go and import it into my favorite online service, 3D Print Rocks. This is a great site, by the way. So let's go to the model settings. You can see here that the maximum size is 180 millimeters and our thickness is 3.5 millimeters. Now that doesn't seem like a lot, but it actually is pretty significant. So if we try to change it here, I'm going to change it to 3.0. Whoops, 3.0. Okay, you can't put the point in there, but it's giving us some issues. So we go over here. Positive image means that we're basically going to keep it as your traditional looking lithophane. Darks are going to be thicker, lights are going to be thinner. If you go negative, you'll have a much more stable image, but there you go. Just load up that image and it does all the work for you. Can you believe that? This guy is great. I've totally subscribed to his Patreon just because this is fantastic. What a service. Any image you can take or dream of. I've done lots of family photos and stuff, images of relatives and stuff, people that have passed on. They make great gifts. So let's go ahead and pull this up into our Simplify 3D. You can use any other slicer program that you like. This demo is just for the average bear that's kind of done a couple prints here and hasn't yet tried lithophanes. So, whoops, wasn't paying attention there. Import models, that's what we want, not the FFF. Okay, so we go ahead and pull up our model. Flying turtle, yeah. And one of the nice features about Simplify, and probably isn't in some of the other slicers, is the ability to be able to select a surface and orient your model based on that surface. So here I'm going to go ahead and there we are. And one of the notes I would like to make here is that you want to align your print with the y-axis, because at least for mine, the y-axis is where it's moving on the tread there for most of the time. So if it's the other direction, your image might flop over, right, as the tray is moving. And all we did there was just change the brim setting so that we get a little bit of brim on the outside, just so it adheres a little bit better to the print surface. Just going through the settings here for you so that you can see all the different settings I used. This entire thing was done on a MakerGear M2 Rev E. Love you guys at MakerGear, by the way. Wonderful company, great tech support. Yeah, I have very few issues with my printer. I've printed quite literally hundreds and hundreds of hours on it so far. So, and all the way infill, 100% infill. Don't miss that. And that should pretty much do it for the settings. So let's see what we get when we slice this up. There we are. Now let's take a look at this little guy. For those of you that haven't ever seen 3D printing before and are just looking at this out of interest, this is what it does. So you start off with that brim. You can see there the outside of the squiggly line is kind of where you're going to get that extra little brim of a hat, if you want to think about it that way. And as you build up, it just goes layer by layer. Don't worry too much about those overhangs from all the letters and stuff like that. They're usually going to catch pretty darn well, especially if we're only going 3 millimeters. You go something like 4 or 5 millimeters, you're kind of asking for trouble. Just go ahead and name it what you want, save it as a file. I like to put mine on the SD card and pop it on over, but right now we'll just save it to the desktop, and that should do it. One more thing is when you save a file, after it's saved on there, make sure you back up to the previous screen, the one with all the green stuff on it there. The reason being is that sometimes it'll get caught up and it won't properly save the file and you won't really know it and you'll fly the SD card out of there without really thinking about it. Thanks for watching my horrible voiceover, and if you happen to like this video, which is our very first one, please hit the like button and please subscribe to our channel and hit the little notifications icon so that we can get some viewership going. Enjoy, happy 3D printing. Look forward to seeing you later.